Hello my friends, this is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking. In this video, we're going to do a bike review, bike check of the 2018 Norco Torrent Hardtail 1. Hey folks, Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in. In this video, like I said, we're going to do a bike check, bike review of my 2018 Norco Torrent Hardtail number 1. Now, before we get into any details, I do have to let you know that I was lucky enough to purchase this bike at a discounted rate. I have to make sure I say that up front because of all the YouTube things, so I want to let you know ahead of time that I did purchase this bike at a discounted rate. That being said, I can promise you that did not change or skew my opinion of this bike in any way, shape, or form. In fact, this bike was on my list of bikes that I really was hoping to get anyway, and it was basically just fate that I was going to be lucky enough to end up with it. But regardless, I need to make sure I get that up front to you so you know all the facts. Okay folks, let's start getting into the bike now. We'll talk about the pros, the cons, why I like the bike, who I think this bike might be good for, and all that kind of fun stuff. This is a badass hardtail, okay? This is the hardtail bike of all hardtail bikes. I love it. It's the kind of hardtail that you just toss stuff at and it just takes it. First of all, it is a boost setup, okay? So there is boost spacing in the back, and it does come with a boost fork. The bike is also designed for plus size tires. That was very important to me. The bike is definitely designed to be a more slack, laid back bike, okay? You're not way up on the bars, you're laid back more. The tires that this bike comes with, these are, let me just make sure I get this correct. I mean, I know what they are. They're Maxxis Minions, but I wanted to make sure I had this set. They are 2.8s, okay? So they're 2.8s that fit fine. There's plenty of clearance on here. I have gotten 3-inch tires on here, so you can fit them on there, but you know how all tires are a little bit different here and there, so just make sure you test, maybe ask ahead of time to make sure they're gonna fit. But these are 2.8 Minions on here. They come stock, insane tires. I mean, they just grip, so it's nice to get a bike with a really solid tire on it when you buy it out of the box. This is a 11-speed SRAM setup, all right? So it's got the SRAM 11-speed NX cassette in the back, and it's got a 30-tooth race face ring up front. I think that's really important to understand because it's not a 12-speed, it's an 11-speed, and it's a 30-tooth. I've gone smaller, okay? Though the bike is a lot more efficient than I thought it was going to be. It is a hardtail, so you get the efficiency of a hardtail, but it's a big hardtail, okay? But I think you need to know that this is maybe a ring that might be a little bit bigger than you might want, considering you don't have the 12-speed in the back. But stronger people may feel otherwise. People like me, it's nice to have the 12-speed and or at least a smaller ring in the front. The other spec that I thought that would be very important for you to know is that the front fork is 140 millimeters of travel. It comes with a Devo Diamond Boost Space fork, 140 millimeters. That's a lot of travel, okay? Okay, so those are really the only specs and numbers that I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about the components that come on the bike. I'll talk about the components that I've added to the bike, what I'm probably still going to change, and we'll take it little by little. All right, so as I mentioned before, it comes with the Devo Diamond front fork. The only problem I have with the fork is that there are a lot of controls on this fork. So you need to take the time to set this up to fit your riding style. Since it is the only piece of suspension on the bike, it's a hardtail, it's important to get this right, and there are a lot of controls on it. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's something to consider when you purchase this bike. You do have to understand that you're going to be getting a fork that has a lot of dials and settings on it that can really improve your riding, but you gotta take the time to do that. Okay, next up, since I'm standing right here anyway, right? I am a huge fan of flat pedals. That's what I like to use. It's a debate. I'll leave that one alone, folks. We'll talk about that in another video. I like to ride flats. Specifically, I like to ride the Catalyst pedals, okay? Those are the pedals that I like, all right? You can learn all about the Catalyst pedals that I like to use. I'll have links. You can just check my website and you'll learn all about them. It's a larger pedal. I like it anyway, but I really like it for this bike because since I'm generally kind of moving around a little crazy, I like having the bigger platform. So the pedals that are on my bike are definitely the Catalyst pedals. Up top, you can see the Wahoo computer that I put on this bike. It's actually mounted on a small mount that I actually 3D printed and built myself, and that's attached to a special Lezyne adapter that comes with their lights to mount on the stem. There's a good chance I'll probably change that stem out for a stem from Pacific Northwest's components. They make a stem that has a GoPro style adapter in the front. I really like that stem, so I'll probably be changing the stem out and using the one from Pacific Northwest. Okay, 2 more parts I just want to cover real quick, and then I want to get right into why I like the bike and the type of riding that I'm using this bike for and just how it feels in general. Right here, I have like a multi-unit kit. It's from Lezyne, and it's a water bottle cage, but it's got your little multi-tool right here. It's got a place to attach things like the plugs. That's what this is. It's a little plug kit for the tubeless tires. So that's what I've got here. That's from Lezyne. And then lastly, and I'll cover this in the cons of the bike, I did remove the dropper seat post that came with the bike, and I put on one from 9.8. It's their fall line dropper seat post, and we'll talk about all that in a minute. All right, enough with the parts and the pieces and the this and the that and the slack and the numbers. Let's just talk about the bike and why I think it's so damn badass. First of all, look at the freaking thing. The bike is just absolutely dead sexy. The polished aluminum frame looks so awesome. The lines, the way they put everything together, you can't not look at the bike and just go, oh, I want that bike. So that alone, you got to be happy with your bike and like the way it looks and everything like that. There's just no issue with that here. This bike is freaking gorgeous. So I'm very, very, very happy with the look of the bike and certainly the build of the bike. The build of the bike is solid. It is a really strong hardtail. That being said, I've mainly been using this though for more smoother, fast flowing places that will have some aggressive things here and there, so I know I have a bike that can handle that too. So this bike moves. Just because it's a big bike and I make it sound like this big, huge thing, no, the bike is definitely nimble and fast. It rolls great. It's very efficient, okay? Despite the size and everything I'm telling you about it, it's still a hardtail, so you get that efficiency. So I've been riding it to places, things like Sterling in the New Jersey area. Great for places like Sterling. Great for places like Allaire, all right? These are all great places for this kind of bike. That being said, my buddy Eric, who's probably watching this video right now saying, Gene, you're so full of it. I take my hardtail all over the place. He used to have the same exact bike and he took it to Mountain Creek. He took it off all the jumps that most of us were afraid to even hit. So it also comes down to how good a rider you are. His was doing stuff that this bike will never do, and it's not because of the bike, it's because of my skill level. So you are looking at a bike that can seriously handle some sick stuff if you've got the stones to actually take this bike off those things. If you want to hit the drops, hit the jumps, you can totally take this bike to bike parks. I took it to Mountain Creek. I had a blast. I had a great time with this bike at Mountain Creek. All right, I took it easy on some of the things and I wasn't going to do some of the more aggressive things, but that's because I need a full suspension, because I need that, because I'm not that good a rider. This bike can handle all of that. It's a very, very solid hardtail mountain bike. So on the topic of riding, let's again talk about why I bought this bike. I wanted to make sure I had a hardtail that wasn't going to be just a single type of bike. With the plus size tires, I can kind of get that fat bike-ish a little bit, right? I can put a 3 on there. That's pretty cool. Okay, you can fit a 3 on there. So that's certainly a pretty big tire. I can get my kind of fat bike-ness out of this bike. I can get my aggressive, go a little crazy kind of riding with this bike. I've got my hardtail efficiency if I want to ride it someplace smooth. I don't have anything to complain about when it comes to this bike because I'm just so happy with it and I absolutely love riding the thing. It's just always a pleasure to get on this bike. So I've been talking about all this wonderful goodness about this bike, but nothing in this world's perfect. So let me talk about some of the cons, okay? The first con is going to be kind of the obvious with everything I've been talking about so far. It's not a light bike. Okay, I'll put on the screen right now. I'm gonna go, I don't have it weighed right this second, so you're probably looking at what it weighs right now. You can see the number on the screen. So you can see that that's not a little number, all right? In fact, I'm pretty sure this weighs right about what my full suspension bike weighs. I never bought this bike to expect it to be a weight weenie, all right? But it's gotta be a con, all right? Considering it is a heavier type of bike. But I wouldn't change anything about the bike to make it lighter because it would just change the characteristics of this bike. I could put lighter tires on here. I don't want to. I like the big meaty minions on this bike, okay? I could put carbon rims on here. That might help a little bit, but you're saving just a little bit of weight for a bike that's just designed to be a more solid type of bike. But that's one of the cons. Another con for me was going to be the dropper seat post that came with it. I wasn't a big fan of the one that came on the bike. So I chose to put the fall line, the 9.8 fall line on this bike. Why? Because I just think that the fall line is a ridiculously solid, high-end type of I mean, you got to feel the thing to understand what I'm talking about. It's a high-end seat post, and I just felt that it also matched the characteristics of this bike. But that would be a con for me. I wasn't a big fan of the seat post, the dropper seat post. So other than those couple little things, I don't really have any glaring negatives about the bike. I knew what I was buying. I was researching this bike for a long time. This was on my list of goodies. This was on my hit list of bikes that I wanted really bad. So I expected everything I got, which is very important. I think you should understand that too. Before you buy a bike, you better know what you're buying, okay? This wasn't an accident. I wanted this bike. I wanted a badass hardtail that I know I'll be able to keep for as long as I want, and it's just gonna be there. It's always gonna be a functional, solid bike in my arsenal of bikes to pull out and use. That was my goal, and that's what this bike's all about. It's just solid. It's just a badass hardtail mountain bike. Okay, folks, that's gonna pretty much wrap things up for me in this bike check, bike review of my 2018 Norco Torrent Hardtail 1. All in all, really cool bike. Super glad that I have it. If you'd like to learn anything more about this bike, or you have any questions, or maybe I didn't cover something that you wanted to learn more about, just put them down in the comments of this video and I'll make sure I answer them for you. I'll also have links to the different components that I added to this bike in the description, so if you'd like to check those out, you can just click on those links and you can do that. But that's about it. Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, thanks so much for tuning in. As always, keep the party on the pedals, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.